First time in the history of the National Assembly, we are convening a structured media engagement ahead of an ordinary session. This initiative is a cornerstone of our open parliament policy designed to bridge the gap between the legislature and the citizenry, ensuring that our legislative priorities are communicated with clarity and transparency. As the clerk said, from Monday, 2nd March to Wednesday, 1st April 2026, the National Assembly will be in session to discharge its constitutional mandates of lawmaking, oversight, and representation. The agenda for this session is strategically structured around 4 key pillars. The first one is the oversight and the physical discipline. In our commitment to safeguarding public resources, the session will commence with an oral ministerial statement by the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs. This statement will focus specifically on the implementation and monitoring of the 2026 annual budget. By demanding real-time data on public expenditure early in the fiscal year, this Assembly is moving to a proactive financial scrutiny. Our objective is to ensure that the appropriations approved by this Assembly are being utilized efficiently to improve the socio-economic welfare of the citizenry. The number 2 pillar is the strategic legislative reforms. The Assembly will deliberate on several critical bills that form the bedrock of our National Assembly agenda. These bills include the National Security Council Amendment Bill 2026, which is aimed at modernizing our security governance architecture. The GAIPA Amendment Bill, the Intellectual Property Bill, and the Communications Bill designed to foster investment and regulate the digital economy. The National Climate Change Bill and the Integrated Coastal Zone Management Bill will provide a legal framework for climate resilience.
This time, the Office of the Clerk, and of course supported by the Procedural Department, is hosting a pre-session technical press engagement. This is the first time we're doing this. Just to inform you, that decision is not intentional, but it reflects a broader institutional reform that we're taking, whereby we're strengthening transparency, enhancing predictability in legislative programming, departing from the usual way of just sending you our agenda for you to read through, and of course deepening public understanding of parliamentary process, because by we understand each other's work. And as we said, a modern parliament must not only legislate, but it must also communicate and of course anticipate and prepare. And these are all the reasoning why we convene in this as a best practice across parliament's jurisdictions. First, we talk about the session framework and the duration, just to update and inform you that pursuant to the already adopted agenda by the Assembly Business Committee on Wednesday, 11 February 2026, the National Assembly will convene its first ordinary session from 2nd March, that's next week, Monday, to 1st April 2026. That's the period for this first ordinary session. And this month-long session has been carefully, some of you are privileged with the already approved agenda, have been carefully architected in a strict adherence to our standing orders. When you talk about parliament, it's all about standing orders and its rules of procedure, with deliberate balancing of both the legislative scrutiny, executive oversight, and as well as administrative efficiency. The scheduling reflects both constitutional obligations and institutional discipline. Regarding the legislative business and time allocation, the legislative workload before the Assembly is substantial, you all understand, and consequential, indeed. Therefore, in accordance with Standing Order 61-2, proceedings on bills has been structured through first reading. Some of you understand what this parliamentary terminology is. Second readings, committee of the whole house, that's the consideration stage of bills, as well as the third reading, that's the final process of a bill to become a law in parliament. To ensure this predictability, fairness, and of course efficient management of parliamentary time while safeguarding robust debate, we have structured the session in this manner. But also to enhance the quality of legislation, the technical reports that will come out during this report or to be tabled are intended to inform the next level. So you could see every stage of the legislative process has an impact on the next stage. From the first reading to the second reading to the third reading, and in between the consideration stage, that's what we call the committees will table their report to inform the consideration stage. So they are not cosmetic per se, but they are indeed a necessary